This study is going to try and help us how to acknowledge or understand what key we're in. Now, obviously, if you get a piece of sheet music like a piano player or something like that, they'll have the little treble clef and they'll have a amount of sharps or flats or whatever, and that will automatically tell us, oh, it's two flats, it's in the key of B flat, or it's three sharps, it's the key of A. But if you've just written the song yourself and you've got four chords and you think, well, this sounds quite nice, I want to do a solo, you don't have a treble clef yet with the amount of sharps or flats inside to tell it. So we need to know how to understand what key it's in. It's the same as well if you go to different sort of sites and you download a song and the chords are there and the chords are correct and you think, well, I'd love to solo here. We need to know how it works. Now, I'm assuming you've done the basic triad sort of breakdown lesson earlier. And you know that in the key of C, for example, it goes C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B minor. We don't use, B diminished, okay. We don't use the diminished chords that much, so we're not going to phrase that about too much. We'll do more involved sort of key signature things later, okay. So I want you to get a pen ready, pause the video, get some paper, and I want you to take notes as we go along, because I'm going to give you a whole lot of information here. I'm going to give you some possible homework to do, and I want you to be solid with this, because end of the day, any song that someone puts in front of you, if it's, unless it's a really complex jazz piece, any sort of normal, conventional, contemporary song in front of you, within literally 3 to 5 seconds, you should know what the key is, maybe even quicker. It's that easy. Okay. My job is to teach you the tricks or give you the tools to understand it. Now, first thing, write down. Okay. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. And then you can write 8 equals 1, which means that your 8th chord is the same as your first chord. Now, I'll obviously be sending you a PDF in this as well. So you're going to see there that it says your basic chords in the key, or types of chords in the key. And it'll have sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the first one will have major written underneath it. Then the next one will have minor written underneath it. Third one will have minor. Then it's a semitone to major, major, minor, diminished. I'm not pointing at the frets for any specific reason. I'm just trying to get an idea that I don't want you writing vertically. I want you to write horizontally. Okay, we got that. So that's your first thing. Say after me: major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. We must know that, not negotiable. Now, if you're playing Ed Sheeran or Taylor Swift or basically all the Kid Laroi songs, or even a lot of the blues songs, funnily enough, even though there's a bit of a change to the rules there, a lot of the stuff through there from really good artists, even Bob Dylan and that, all use the same theory. Okay. Now, you got a song. Let's say, for example, now your song goes C, G, A minor, F. Okay, write it down. C, G, A minor, F. Write it down in a row. You can put there next to it exercise 1. You can write that next to it. So exercise 1 is C, G, A minor, F. We got that. Okay. We want to know what key it's in. Now, a lot of newbie musicians make the assumption, and it's a good assumption, it's a good place to start, that your opening chord is your key. That is the case many times, but not all the time. Very important. Okay. Now, we need to know 3 basic pairs. Now, what do I mean by pair? Okay, I just said major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Remember that? And you'll notice that positions 2 and 3 are both minor, correct? So your first clue, you can write there clue, clue, okay. Underneath clue, you write there clue 1, 2 minors apart, a tone apart, are positions 2 and 3. That's my first possible clue. We got that. So clue 1, minor to minor with a tone apart, must be position 2 and 3. It can't be anywhere else, because if it was 3 and 4, 4 would be a major, so it wouldn't work there. The next clue we're going to look at is going to be position 4 and 5 both being majors. Okay, so right there, clue number 2. Okay, major, major, a tone apart must be positions 4 and 5. That's your second clue. We got that. Okay, I'm pausing over here so that you got time to write this down. And then the last clue is going to be positions 3 and 4, because 3 and 4, a semitone apart, is going to be minor to major. Okay, so minor to major semitone can only be 3 and 4. Okay, we got that so far. Cool. Now, back to your progression. We can do reggae. You got No Woman, No Cry. Okay, but that's not the point. We need to know what key it's in. Now, C to G, they're not a tone apart. I mean, C is over here, G is over here, sorry, my bad. And then G to C, you can see that's definitely not a tone apart. That's like about a whole lot of tones, it's 2.5. Don't want that, can't be. I have to do F to C, that's even worse, it's even a bigger gap. But check this out. F to G, that's a lot closer here. So F and G, the chords F and G, must be found in positions 4 and 5 of whatever major scale we're actually working in. Okay, so write that down. Chords F and G are positions 4 and 5 in the major scale. We got that. Now we need to reverse engineer it to position number 1, and we'll get our key. So if F is 4, there's my F, E would be 3, 2 would be D, and hey, here we go, 1 is C. So I'm in the key of C major. And that makes sense. Opening chord of C major as well. So this one actually just validates the fact that our opening chord is often the key, but not always. There will be exceptions later. So now I can go. And the little phrase there is from your A minor scale, and that's what we wanted to do, because C major and A minor are the same. So we need to know what key I'm in. In other words, if I know my key and I know my scales, I've got freedom of my guitar. We call that. Next song, we're going to do something a bit differently now. We are going to do this one. You recognize that, huh? Okay. Good old Sweet Home Alabama starts with D, goes to a C add 9. We'll just pretend it's C because it's not going to affect anything. And it ends on a G at the end. Now this one starts in D, so they say, ah, cool, must be the key of D. No, it's not. Because C and D are 4 and 5 again. Okay, so if this is 5 and this is 4, that means I must trace it back to see what number 1 is. So I go, okay, fine. D is 5, C is 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's my key. So this one is actually in the key of G major. So I'm good. And I know that's not the original riff, and that was just to show you that it will work from an improvisational point of view, because if I know the key, all the correct notes will be available to me to utilize as I want, when I want, how I want. So know your keys. Now we've been working with basically sort of 2 majors so far. Let's say, for example, now we've been doing Black Magic Woman by Santana. So it's going to go, and it's going to go to, and then eventually down to. So your chords were D minor, A minor, D minor, and then G minor. So now you've got no major chords. So now you think, well, okay, fine, what do I do? So you write down D minor, A minor, G minor. Is D minor and G minor close together? It'd be G. Now notice, to see how far they're apart, I use the same string, because if I use different strings, it gives a false sense of distance. because this D is here. So you might think, hey, it's only a tone. But it's not a tone because it's on different strings. That would be basically 2.5 tones. 3.5 tones, sorry, my bad. Okay. So always compare your distances on one string. It's much more reliable. So you say to yourself, well, okay, what about G minor, A minor? Because that's quite close together. G minor, A minor. That makes sense because they're a tone apart. And then look at your clues. Which positions has two minors a tone apart? Positions 2 and 3. Got your answer. Simple as that. Okay. Any questions so far? Now, before we go further, before we tackle harmonic minors and some pretty scary stuff and that, we first want to get good with the basic triads where we're not sort of going with accidentals and crazy stuff like that. So we're going to look into other songs like Hotel California and Nobody Knows You Need Down and Out later when you got some pretty weird stuff happening. So, but for now, we first want to get the basics in position. So for all those friendlies that are sort of saying, yeah, but what about if you do the song? If it hasn't got a harmonic minor or melodic minor, we'll tackle it. But if it has, later, patience. Okay. And that's all for now. I'll be sending 2 or 3 chord progressions through with your lesson as well that you can sit and work out. And then you can just WhatsApp me your answers. Let me know how it goes. And if you get stuck, send me a WhatsApp as well, because I'd like you to be good with it. If you've got a good foundation, if you understand keys, if you understand how the chords are built and their positions in each key, the mystery of keys is no longer difficult. It's really straightforward. There are only 7 positions. It's not a big thing. It's not like maths with pi and trigonometry and big numbers. Okay, 7 positions, and it's as simple as that. Guys, have a good week. Take care, and let me know how it goes. Thank you.